It's time to talk golf and specifically the Masters 2022 here with Jan Stephenson. Jan, it's Masters week. This is what we get excited about, isn't it?
It is so exciting. I mean, they said it was the biggest crowd that they've ever recorded on a Monday practice round, and people are so excited to be back.
Yeah, it's really because of just not being around the last couple of years. I
I
know there
know. I
was
mean,
some fans last year, but that really was nothing.
right, and then the year before they just had nobody, and it was such a strange feeling. And there's something about playing in that with that gallery. It's just so exciting.
I'll say this: if anything ever were to occur like that again, I don't even want them to play the Masters. I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch them play. It's like watching practice rounds. I mean,
Yeah,
why
you're
why do you
right.
want to watch that?
That's true. I mean, even the players, some of the players liked it because they get so nervous, but the ones that truly love to, that really can play, that's what it's always saying. I mean, we've always said that, people that can play when the gun goes off, there's a big
Yes,
difference.
and I look, and I don't. It's tough because you don't. In 15 years from now, 100 years from now, nobody's ever going to remember. And DJ and Hideki, unless they win it again, they have their green jackets. But I'm sorry, when you win when there's not many fans or no fans at all, it's not the same. It's,
No,
it's just
no
not.
one.
You're not really on par as far as I'm concerned with all the other Masters champs who had to win in front of a big crowd.
That's true. With the pressure's on and you're hearing all the yells and screams when somebody makes a putt, I mean, it just gets me goosebumps thinking about when I did it when there were big galleries. And just like we talked about with the Dinah Shore, we had enormous galleries and they don't have them anymore. It's sad.
Yeah, well, big week and big surprise announcement today from Tiger. I was shocked that he had a press conference to let everybody know that he was going to play. I was just shocked.
Oh, you
Big
literally
surprise.
were shocked?
No,
No, I was
I mean
going to
it's so
say.
ridiculous that I mean it's like he's hamming all of this up. It's like to all everybody's talking about on Monday, and then I'm sure it's going to be on every press clip of everything he's talking about. I mean, it's going to be like two days out of the three to and they'll probably talk more about it tomorrow too. Like, come on, there's other players here at the Masters. He hasn't played at all this year. It's great that he's here, but do we have to talk 90% about Tiger Woods this week? It's just, come on, too much.
I'm tired of it. I was tired of it at the Hall of Fame when the whole thing was a love fest with Tiger, and then I was disappointed that he wouldn't even hang out with Hall of Famers. He just sat in a separate room with his family, and I just think that it's great that we have Tiger and he's done a lot for the game, but I just think I'd like to see him a little more humble. I mean, he's humble in front of the media, but he's not really humble.
Well, maybe there's still hope. So we'll see. He's still playing. Maybe it'll take until the days he's no longer playing, but I can't imagine even what it's going to be like. Do you think Tiger's the type of player to play on the seniors tour?
He loves to win. There's no question. So he would have to be, like Phil was, to be able to still compete on both tours. And if he wants to break more records, they're considering now that if you win on this Champions Tour, that's a major. So, he wants to break Jack Nicklaus's record. It would be a way to do it.
There you go. Okay, the key trends, and I've already given a few of them, but this is regarding Cameron Smith, and I've got him in my picks. But Tiger Woods is the only player to win the Players and the Masters in the same year. And not only did he do it in 2000, not only did he do it, but he did it in consecutive events over a 3-week span. Now, Cameron Smith won the Players, and he hasn't played since. So he could, if he actually becomes the first player since Tiger to win the Players and the Masters in the same year, he'll have done it the same way as Tiger, doing it back-to-back events. So how tough is that going to be for Cameron Smith, considering he plays really well at the Masters? He's played there 5 times. He has 3 top tens, 2 top fives, and a runner-up.
Wow. Well, Cam Smith is a brilliant putter. And you've got to have both at the Masters. That's the thing about it, is because no matter what, you're going to have some tricky putts and you're going to have a lot of second putts when you get on a downhill putt. It can run 8 to 10 feet past, because if they have the greens at, stimping 12 or 13, it becomes a putting contest. And so Cameron Smith is probably, I would say, my top 3 putter on the tour, if not the best. So I think that Cam Smith is so good inside 10 feet. I mean, he's deadly. He proved that at the Players, and he's a really, really good putter. Now in Australia, he did really well, even though he's from Queensland. Our greens can get very fast, and he's always been a great putter. I don't know, and obviously he can handle the pressure. I didn't know if he could handle the pressure, but look how great he did at the under pressure, making those 10-foot putts. He only had 102 putts at the Players, which is incredible. That's not going to happen at the Masters. You're going to have a lot of 2 putts, but fantastic 2 putts. So if he seems like he's pretty confident. He doesn't seem like he actually doesn't seem intimidated, which I love. So I mean, obviously he's an Aussie. I'd love to see him do well. My pick, I think, is Justin Thomas.
Oh, back to Justin Thomas again. All right.
He's desperate. I've never seen anyone try. Everybody kept saying in the gallery at the Valspar, he's trying too hard. He worked so hard. They were out there Monday. His father was working on his chipping with him and then on his speeds of his putts. He worked like he'd get there 2 hours before his tee time and work on his putting. And, that was, he is really, really wants it. And he has the game for it. He's a great putter, great short game, and he bombs it. So he's probably my pick.
All right. Well, Justin Thomas. Now get this. He's been okay at the Masters. He's been in the top 40 all 6 appearances. So he's made all 6 cuts. But he only has 1 top 5 and another but of his overall game. Since his win at the Players in 2021, if you take a look at the other majors since then, including the Players a few weeks ago. So in other words, the big events since his win at the Players, he does not have a top 15.
Wow.
Now, he hasn't won since, but he doesn't have a top 15 either at the big events. So
right. But you got to think that Augusta National, if you're long, you can be crooked. And the problem with Justin Thomas is that he's hitting it every now and then. He'll hit one just sideways. And that is, he can get away with it in Augusta National because there is no rough. We've had a lot of courses so far. You look at Bay Hill, you look at the Players, you look at Valspar, with all the overseed, that rough is brutal. And he does tend to hit 3 or 4 shots a day that are sideways. He's got so much power and his arm speed is great, but he doesn't have control of his ball that way. And coming down the stretch, you still think of holes like 15 at the Masters. It's an easy hole if you get it in the fairway. And, in 17 and 18, those holes become hard if you're worried about getting it in the fairway.
What do you think about the 15 was the other change? They've lengthened it 20 yards. Which wow. I like, because now it will give. It's not that the players can't reach it still. It's that now you're just giving them a little bit more to think about. What club should I use? And that is what they're hoping for. So, again, I think that maybe we'll get a little bit more risky, shots, and maybe some bad shots of players that are kind of on that borderline of, well, I don't know what I should do here. So I like it. It should, because it was becoming too easy. Not just too easy because the scoring was low on the hole, but too easy of a thought process. Like, all right, I'm just going to go here, going to take this iron, and I'm just going to, it's just, no thought process at all, but now more thinking into the shot.
I agree, because the way it was, they were hitting it so far that they actually could have like middle irons to a par 5. So now, like you said, if you don't drive it perfectly, you're going to have a long iron in. That's going to be more of a premium on driving. I like that. I'm glad they did that.
Okay, so let's do like a speed run through the rest. And by the way, just a couple more trends, and you can see them on the board here that I think is important. The last 10 first-time winners had an average world ranking of 20th. The last 9 first-time winners ranked inside the top 30. I mean, bottom line is, if you're not inside the top 30, and look, there's no question it has a lot to do with the size of the field, and that's definitely in play. So you have to keep that in mind. But still, Angel Cabrera was the lowest ranked player to win, and he was 69th. So it
Wow.
can happen. That happened in 09. And by the way, Cabrera was also the last player to win the Masters coming into the Masters with a missed cut. As crazy as that sounds. Now, unless you played last week, then most players aren't going to have to worry about that because the week before was the WGC match play and you can't miss the cut.
Right.
So that's something that I don't think you have to worry about too much this week. But anyway, it just makes a point. Now, let's go ahead and make a quick run through by the way, one more thing, and that's the round by round trends. And I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago. If you do not get off to a good start at the Masters, you are not going to win. Period.
Wow.
The last 16 winners began the second round inside the top 12.
Wow,
Okay?
that's an interesting fact because I know one year the Tiger got off to a bad start and he did come back and win. But those trends, all of those things you've said make sense, except that one, I guess because they make the golf course harder every day after that. And a lot of it, you know how they've got the early and the late tee times, a lot of people freak out because there's a lot of thunderstorms and that can affect it. But the deal is, though, the pins get harder, the greens get firmer and faster. So if you don't get off to a good start on at least the first 2 days, it makes it very difficult by the weekend because once they make the cut, they really toughen the course up. Normally they say Saturday's moving day, but at the Masters,
overrated. That
it's
is an
definitely not
overrated
going to work.
term at the Masters. Yeah. Moving day, like around the top 10. I mean, that's all it is because you're not coming in from outside of that.
No.
Because look here, since the first ever Masters in 1934, only 8 winners started round 3 outside the top 10.
Wow, that is really a great stat. I can't believe you can get those stats. It's awesome. But that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people always say it's the weakest field in golf because you don't get anyone that's 60 or 70th usually because they didn't make the Masters. And the 20 of those players are international players that got invited because they won one of their tournaments and a lot of amateurs. So, and you're not going to handle the pressure. So it has to be somebody that can handle it. And one of my favorite things that I always believe is you have to come in playing well. Especially in a major, because if your game has got any weaknesses, you're going to see it when, the cream always comes to the top, but also you have to be playing well at the Masters.
And let's see, Art Wall is the only player to win the Masters starting the final round outside the top 10.
Wow. And that's interesting. And probably that was a weaker field than what we have now because our top 10 are pretty strong.
Yeah. The last 32 winners began the final round in the top 5.
That's a good point.
You're not going to, if you're outside the top 5 going into Sunday, you're not going to win. I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm definitely going to look at that on Sunday and bet.
27 of the last 31 winners started the final round in the final pairing.
Wow.
And 6 of the last 8 winners started the final round with the lead. So
interesting. So, well, the lead is hard. To sleep on a lead at a major is a lot of pressure, unless you've got a big lead. And look what happened. Yeah. So,
or you're Jordan Spieth.
That's a hard one. Yeah. So, I mean, unless you really, Jordan and the 3 people that you stand out is Greg Norman, Jordan, and McIlroy. They blew it at leading, and they had a big lead. So. I feel like McIlroy deserves to win. He threw it away one year, and gave it. I think he even gave it to Jordan. So I'm looking for him to eventually get the golf gods to even it out.
All right, so let's take a look quickly and go over the favorites. So you got Rahm, who's going to be one of my picks. He's 12-1. He's got 4 straight top 10s and 2 top 5s here. So he's as good as anybody here who hasn't won yet.
Yeah, he's determined too. He got off to a good start early on, and then he kind of struggled the last few events and took off a couple of weeks. So he's really raring to go.
All right, Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Smith, and Justin Thomas are 14-1. You're picking Thomas. I mentioned Smith, Scheffler, also 14-1. I'm putting Scheffler and Smith in my top picks. So Smith will have to buck a trend. I just think that he's coming in hot. Plus the fact he's played here before and played well here before. And Scotty Scheffler. I mean, come on. Nobody is more confident right now than Scotty Scheffler.
I agree. I agree with that. But you got to look at Brooks Koepka.
He's in my picks too, but I haven't gotten him yet.
This.
Yes,
he's playing well too. I think you're right on. I think Scotty Scheffler and Bruce, and now I'm changing from Justin Thomas. I think I'm going to go with guys that are playing well. You got to do that at the Masters.
Johnson 16-1, 2020 champ. Koepka's 18-1 along with Morikawa. And Koepka is going to be in my top 5. He has 3 top 15s and a runner-up in 6 appearances. So, he's made for the course, and you know how determined he is to win another major outside of the U.S. Open and the PGA Championship.
Yeah, and he has a really good attitude. He doesn't get, really excited and really down, at least, outwardly anyway. So I know he wants this. So I don't know that Morikawa's got much shot. I don't think he's putting well enough.
Yeah, again, Morikawa is he's just impossible to figure out whenever he's going to play well or not. Cantlay, Hovland, McIlroy, and Spieth are all 20-1. I'm not touching any of those 4, but I guess if I was going to take one of the 4, I might just take McIlroy.
Yeah, I feel like I said, the golf cards are for him. I do like Hovland, though. The only problem is that he has a tendency to miss those 5-footers. He blew a couple of European tournaments and one in Dubai where he missed a short putt coming down the stretch. So he has a nerve problem. And once he breaks through, I think he'll be okay. But he's one that I think he's playing really well, but he'd have to come from behind. And like you said with the stats, not too many come from behind at the Masters.
And that's actually my biggest concern with Scheffler, is that he's more of a come from behind guy. And I don't know, based on what the Masters is like, he better get off to a good start. Now, Schauffele's 25-1, and that's because he's played well here. He's got 2 top 5s and a runner-up in his last 3 visits. But he's just not the same player he was a year and a half ago. There's something wrong with his confidence. Once he gets into to Sunday and he's in contention, he just doesn't play well anymore.
Yeah, I watched it. I looked at his swing at Valspar, and it doesn't seem like he has a spark right now. It ever since. I mean, he did really well at Ryder Cup, but I don't know. He just didn't seem to have that excitement. I mean, he walked onto the tee a few times when I wanted to video his swing, and he didn't have that can't wait to tee it up look, that one where you're really into it.
Okay, now my top contenders starts with the 2 young hotshots, Sam Burns at 33-1, making his first appearance, and Will Zalatoris, who was runner-up last year in his first appearance. So even though both of them would be, historicals, Zalatoris winning on his second appearance and his first ever PGA Tour win would have to be the Masters. Burns, of course, would have to be the first one since Fuzzy to win in his first appearance. But if anybody can do it, I think Sam Burns, if he gets off to a good start, watch out.
I agree. And I don't think Zalatoris can do it on those greens. I mean, I'm hoping he'll win one because I do like his golf swing, but his putting he's not a good enough putter for Augusta National.
Okay, next up at the 50-1s, you got Connors and Scott. Adam Scott is one of my top 7 picks. The only thing I'm concerned about with Scott, even though he has a good resume at the Masters, is ever since his win in 2013, he has only 1 top 10 since then at the Masters. So he hasn't played particularly well since the 2013 win, but he's made 18 of 20 cuts at the Masters, and he's playing better. I like the way he's playing this year. He's playing better this year than he's played last year, except for he had that win at the Genesis. What was it, last year or a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's 2 years ago, but I don't know that. No, it was just last year. But I don't. Again, he's like Will. I don't think he's a good enough putter.
Yeah, that putting keeps switching. He switch again, right?
Won. Yeah, he's going the 12 putter now. But the year he won, the greens were slower, and so he didn't. So it rained a lot, and a lot of it's the weather, because even though they they've got the heaters and the fans underneath to make the greens consistent so that they're never going to be soaking wet. They were slow that year. And he's not a great putter in fast greens.
Okay, well, does it help him then that it's raining today? It's supposed to rain again tomorrow.
It helps a little bit, but he's like, well, that this is not the tournament to be putting with their. You've got to have a strong short game.
By the way, the wind is going to be 15 mile an hour on Thursday, 20 mile an hour with 30 mile an hour gusts on Friday. So if the players,
that makes a big difference. And now I go back to liking Cam Smith, because in Australia it's windy every day. So definitely Florida, people that live in Florida with the wind, or Texas. So now you go back to that changes everything. The weather's a big deal.
Yeah. So watch out,
like you said.
Because if you can get in that top 5, that top 10 going into the weekend when the wind dies down, now you've put yourself in position where you're supposed to, you got to be one of those top 10 players that have a shot. So, okay. Yeah. Now here's maybe a bit of a surprise. Out of the 266-1 shots, I'm going with Tony Finau as one of my picks. I know he's not playing particularly well, but he just started to play a little bit better last week, and he likes the golf course. So if you're looking for someone that could be a nice sleeper at 66-1, for me, it's going to be Tony Finau.
Well, it's an emotional win. I like that only because I really like the kid. He's really, really a good guy. He's a great father. And he has done it the hard way. So I would love to, and I love his golf swing. It's one of my favorite golf swings out there. Him and Jon Rahm have got 2 of my favorite golf swings. But I don't know, again, as it comes down to it, his weakness is his putting.
Okay, and then at the top, my notable long shots, you got all the veterans here except one player. The veterans, you got Rose, you got Watson, you got Westwood, and if you want to go to 250-1, you even got Padraig Harrington playing this week. Rose, I'm surprised Rose hasn't won yet at the Masters. He's made 15 of 16 cuts at the Masters. His best chance was the playoff loss to Garcia, which, by the way, is the last time the Masters has had a playoff.
Wow.
That's how long it's been. But so I wouldn't, if Justin can he always gets off to a good start at the Masters. And so I'm not concerned about Justin. He'll probably be on the top leaderboard going into Friday. It's Friday that's the issue with Rose. Can he maintain that going into Saturday and put himself in a position? If he can do that, maybe Justin has a chance. He's not that old. He's only like 41.
No, he's not old, and he's old enough to be able to still win it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just feel like he's lost again. He kind of reminds me of Schauffele, that I think he's lost a little spark. And when you're struggling looking for it, I don't know, you're going to find it at the Masters.
All right, and then one of my other surprise picks is going to be Thomas Pieters. He's only played here twice. One of those was a top 5 in his first appearance. Let's keep in mind it's been a kind of a long drought for him, but he won twice in a span of like a month over in Europe. Now he's back here playing these big events in the United States again. He's got the power game for Augusta. We know the putter is the issue, but again, if you're looking at someone that I think the game suits the golf course, and maybe he could hang around on Saturday or Sunday, maybe Thomas Pieters could do that this weekend.
Interesting. I can't wait to see. You're always good with your stats, so we'll see.
All right, so there's the picks as we round out again. I'm going to go Scheffler, Cameron Smith, Jon Rahm, Brooks Koepka, Tony Finau is going to be my long shot, and then Pieters and Scott are going to be my alternates. And you have made your final decision. Did you say Cameron Smith, or did you say Brooks Koepka? Or are you going back to Justin Thomas?
No. I think after we think about things, I think I'm either going Jon Rahm or Brooks Koepka.
Brooks Koepka or Rahm. Okay. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's the Masters. You kind of want every once in a while, you want to see those long shots, but it just doesn't happen at Augusta. You got to go with the best players. The best players are going to win this event.
playing well. It has to be the two things. And the Masters, you've got to remember, you've got to hit it long and you've got to be a good putter. So that and then you've got to, and there's only probably 10 that could really do that. So now you go back to every one of the people you picked are good putters and hit the ball long, except for Tony Finau.
Yeah, and Peters. But okay, so before I let you go, Jennifer Kupcho wins the first major on the LPGA Tour of the season. Big surprise, but she's an American, so that's great. She was a long shot, so that's great. These are all the things you want to see. That is good for the LPGA Tour to have an American long shot winning a major. So what did you think about her performance?
Well, I didn't realize she hadn't won. I know she'd won in other places, but she hadn't won on the LPGA Tour. She won the inaugural Women's Augusta Amateur, and I knew once she got immediately on tour that she was going to be great. Did not realize she hadn't won, or I would have picked her as the first time, not to win the Chevron, but I definitely
one
knew
of those first time winners. Yeah,
she was going to be a first time winner this year. She played really well. She putted outstandingly well. And she had a nice big lead, which is good for your first tournament because you don't want it coming down the stretch. A couple of players look like Tavatanikit looked like she had a chance, but she missed every time she could have put pressure on Jennifer. She missed the putt. And so she kind of let her out of not having to put the pressure on him, which was interesting. They kept saying it on television. I know Judy Rankin kept saying, if she'd have made that putt, it might have changed things. And she kept missing. Patty kept missing. And then Jessica Korda had a great event. It was nice to see, and it's not a surprise. It's a golf course where they shortened the par fives. And they wanted some birdies on the par fives because the other holes were long. So Jennifer's a long hitter, so it was a big advantage for her because she could reach the par fives in too. So it's not a surprise. It was great to see.
And now they're going to leave.
Well, it's got a great history. I mean, I was very sad. I know the golf course backwards. It was the only major that I didn't win on the tour. I finished second and third there. I finished third there in my very first tournament, my first qualification when I qualified there in 76. And I got I was wanting it so badly coming down the stretch. I went for birdies, and then I had a short birdie putt on 18 and I ran it by and I went up there and missed it coming back. And I remember at the time it was devastating because I went from second to third, and it took me a long time to get over that. But then I finished second in 87, and that would have been might have been the first one to have won all four of the majors, the first one to do the Grand Slam. So I was pretty devastated, and it was so sad to see that it was going away until yesterday. They made the announcement that they're going to now have a women's legends event there. So it's going to be a seniors, and they had all of the past champions there all week, and it didn't make sense. I was surprised that they did that. And then once they announced that, it was very exciting because I get to go back and play.
There you go. Now you get one last, you get another chance. That's awesome. When does that start?
It won't start till this time next year. So it'll be April of 2023.
Oh, okay.
So now I have to keep my game going one more year. I was going to retire this year. I guess I'll have to do it one more year.
Give it one more shot. All right, awesome. By the way, did you notice, I don't know why, but every time I flipped on the LPGA coverage, they didn't have the same leaderboard box on the side that the PGA Tour coverage had. So every time I turned on the LPGA Tour, I didn't know what was going on. There was nothing. I didn't see any scores. And now I don't know if that was my bad luck, but every time I turned it on, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, who's winning? Come on, show me something. I don't know who's winning. I don't know what the leader, who's in third, who's in fourth. They would not show the same box that has shown 95% of the coverage on the men's, whenever the men are playing on the Golf Channel. They're not showing it for the women. It was like, to me, it's like a backwards kind of plan. You should want people who are tuning in to know, because I don't know if they thought, well, maybe if we don't show them who's winning, they'll hang on longer and they won't change the channel. if that's their idea process, it's wrong. You don't want to do that because we don't have attention spans like that anymore. If we go on there, we don't see that you're going to show us the leaderboard, we're changing the channel.
Well, I think it probably, and this, I know this happens, is they don't like to see the leaderboard when there's a great big lead because people are going to say, oh, she's going to win it.
There you go.
And
that could have been it.
Then they turn it off. So she did have a huge lead until the end. When I turned it on, she had a 6-shot lead, and I'd gone to my phone to see what the lead was because they weren't showing it on the leaderboard, like you said. So I went on. Once you have a 6-shot lead, they're going to go, oh, well, she's going to win it, and they turn it off.
All right. Well, there you go. See, you answered my question. Next week, it's what is next week?
Next week's Hawaii for LPGA. And then typically in the PGA,
they always RPC Heritage. Yes.
Go to Heritage. They go to Hilton Head. So
can't believe I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a completely different golf course.
Oh my God! Now there'll be totally different favorites. I love that golf course. Harbour Town's great, and it totally suits a great ball striker and not a long hitter.
Yep. So that's always interesting. Right after the Masters, it's like a downer though. It's like after you watch the Masters for 4 days, the next golf course is like, You know, it's
there's not many people that play the Masters that play that week, but everyone is dying to play their bit that didn't play well, or they've worked on their game so hard for the Masters that quite a lot of the players that had a good tournament will go play the pitch because they've worked so hard and their game is attuned. And I've seen a lot of players that have missed the cut at the Masters and gone on to do really well at the Heritage. Yeah, that's going to be one of you can look that up now.
I will have to see about that trend there. And then Ian Poulter, who didn't play this week, will definitely play at RBC Heritage. You would have to believe because he always plays there from what I can recall because it suits his game perfectly. So you have to think that he's going to be ramped up after not even getting the Masters invite this year. So again,
I think be good for Cantlay, might be good for Morikawa and Schauffele there. That one,
especially if they miss the cut.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Jan. Now you're headed to Australia, right?
I am. I'm going via Hawaii, and then I go to Australia for 3 weeks. So that'll be watch some of the Australian LPGA events.
Okay. So when we talk, but I know we have a hard enough time sometimes technically hooking you up in Florida. So I hope it's not all that much difficult in Australia.
No, it should be easier because my nephew's into all of this computer stuff. He'll be able to help me.
Excellent. So make sure you'll have you'll have like your laptop or your cell phone. So he could actually even show you what you're doing wrong, maybe. So when you get back
on my laptop, I don't know what's wrong with it. There's always something.
Well, it's good. And then whatever you do, don't allow them to like house arrest you for the 3 weeks. Once it's time to leave, just make sure you're gone. Don't allow them to keep you there.
I know. Well, hopefully everything will be good. Maybe they'll even open up. I don't know. It's very sad that they're so socialist. Anyway, we'll see.
I hope so. Well, enjoy going back to your home country. I know that's always special, and we'll talk to you when you're over there. It should be fun. And maybe if you get an opportunity, it would be nice if you're able to get like, I don't know, just a view of Australia from the background.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe I'll do it on the beach.
That'd be even better. Thanks, Jan. Appreciate it. Enjoy the Masters. Have a safe trip to Australia. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Greg. Bye.